Breaking news first right now here on the WHAS 11 team. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Louisville Metro Police tonight calling it a senseless act of violence. An attempted police traffic stop turns into a suspect taking off and crashing into another driver, killing that person. It happened at the intersection of 35th and Bank Streets in the West End, just a couple of blocks away from that attempted traffic stop, which happened at 33rd and Flans. A large number of police have been on the scene for several hours, and so has WHAS 11's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie. They are live with us now here on the night team. Alex, we got a short briefing from police just before 10. What did Dwight Mitchell have to say then?
Doug, we've been here on the scene for the past 3 hours, and we are at the intersection of 35th and Bank Streets. As you can see right here, police vehicles and crime tape are still up here at the scene where that crash happened in the Portland neighborhood. LMPD says the incident started at 6:20 tonight, just a couple of blocks away from here on Flans Avenue, where an officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop.
The officer activated his emergency equipment for approximately 11 seconds. As the suspect began to flee, the officer deactivated his emergency equipment.
LMPD spokesperson Dwight Mitchell says the suspect car then drove into this intersection, again at 35th and Bank Street. A car unrelated to the incident was also pulling into the same intersection and also had the right-of-way. The suspect's car then crashed into the unrelated car. Both drivers were taken to U of L Hospital for their injuries, where the driver of the unrelated car died.
This is a very unfortunate thing that's happened tonight, senseless death that's taken place.
LMPD says the suspect is expected to survive, and as you can see right here, the two cars involved in this incident are still here on the scene. LMPD also did tell us that the suspect was confirmed to be driving a car stolen out of Indianapolis. We're being told that there are multiple charges pending. Live in Portland, Alex Dieterer, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Okay, new information there from Alex Dieterer live. Thank you very much. Again, the suspect driving a stolen car out of Indianapolis. LMPD's traffic unit is investigating the crash. They ask anybody who can help them to call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. You can also use the online portal. All new tonight on the WHAS 11 Night Team. The head of Kentucky's Department of Community-Based Services is following the domestic violence case against super chef Darnell Ferguson closely. And she's telling us tonight, based on the charges, that woman is still in danger. Meantime, Ferguson faced a judge who told him she's been to his restaurants. WHAS 11 Night Team's Taylor Woods is here now with the details in this case. Taylor?
Well, Doug, Darnell Ferguson's attorney wanted his bond lower than $10,000, but the judge didn't let his popularity move her decision due to the strangulation charge he is facing.
No joke. Everybody thought I was joking. They thought I was joking. The Food Network chasing the papers.
Known for his 2 restaurants now closed, Drippin' Crab and Super Chefs, along with being host of Food Network's Super Chef Grudge Match, Darnell Ferguson's life and career took a turn to jail.
Ferguson.
In court, the 36-year-old is now facing several charges, including burglary, strangulation, and terroristic threatening. Court documents say Ferguson illegally entered a woman's home, punching walls and choking her neck. St. Matthews police say Ferguson threatened to kill her.
And I'm certainly aware of Mr. Ferguson. I am actually watching his show right now on television with my kids.
But Judge Ann Delahanty didn't let that stop her from setting a bond.
However, my decision is I'm going to treat Mr. Ferguson like any other person who would walk in here. Ordinarily, I would set a strangulation bond at $10,000.
Darnell Ferguson's attorney says Ferguson and the woman have 3 children together, and they were exchanging children when another person was found inside a home. That's when the dispute happened.
When someone has a gun or begins to strangulate, your chances of getting killed go up exponentially.
The former CEO of the Center for Women and Families and current deputy of Kentucky's Community-Based Services, Marta Miranda Straub, says this is common for domestic violence victims.
We start feeling guilty. We start feeling responsible.
The woman told authorities she couldn't breathe and lost consciousness. When she regained consciousness, she said she was on the floor and Ferguson allegedly ripped off her shorts.
This dynamic is about power and control. The most loss of control is when that person is leaving them. Either they're going to go to shelter or they're going to get a divorce or they start dating someone else.
In court, Judge Delahanty had the last word.
A condition that he not be around his ex-wife at this time.
And Darnell Ferguson pleaded not guilty in court today. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for January 18th at 9 in the morning. In studio, Taylor Woods, WHAS 1119 on your side.
Taylor, thank you. Another case. It's been 7 months since a Louisville family lost their mother in a case of domestic violence. Amanda Miller was shot and killed in the parking lot of the CVS store in downtown Louisville. It's on East Broadway. Metro Police have a suspect, her boyfriend Maurice Byers. They still need tips from the community to find him. Valerie Garrett tells us she saw her daughter for the last time when she left a Memorial Day cookout and went to meet Byers. Then she was shot, sent to the hospital, and died during surgery.
There's going to be another Amanda Miller's mother sitting here. There's going to be more children without a mom that has to relocate their home, their whole life, everything, because one man couldn't take rejection.
Just in homicide cases in general, people have to talk to us first to solve these things, and that goes the same with apprehending individuals. We depend on the public heavily for information.
If you have any information that could help detectives in this case, you're asked to call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. A Louisville man has died in a house fire that happened in the Crescent Hill neighborhood early this morning. It happened on Frank at Frankfort Avenue, right near the Louisville Fire Station that's based at that corner. Friends at the scene tell WHAS 11 News the victim is this man, 64-year-old Mark Shallcross, who was formerly a spokesperson for the Kentucky Derby Festival. We spoke with some of his friends at the house today. They did not want to go on camera.
I saw him Monday night. Very rare that I see him, and then this happens the next day.
No one else was hurt in the fire, according to Louisville firefighters. And all new at 11, an amazing gesture is turning one of our city's darkest days in history into a source of light. A gift of $500,000 to Louisville's Water Step, made in honor of Tommy Elliott, one of the Old National Bank shooting victims. WHAS 1119's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie were there as Marianne Elliott shared a message of hope tonight.
It is truly a selfless and generous act and a beautiful way to honor him.
In one of the few public appearances she's made since losing her husband, Tommy Elliott, during the Old National Bank shooting.
I love you. Thank you.
Marianne Elliott looked formidable and graceful, accepting a $500,000 donation on hers and Tommy's behalf.
In the midst of deep loss and grief, there's not only a search for the evidence of hope, but how that hope might be inserted amongst the lives of others.
Joined by her friend of 16 years.
It's an amazing friendship that started there and that continues.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear applauded Elliott's strength.
And just to see how she continues to lead with grace, to try to use one of the worst moments I know of her life in ways that benefit other people's. You see a little glimpse of God there.
He would seriously be so proud to see Kentucky leading the way for a cause that's so vitally important.
Now the hope is that this anonymous donation can spark a further global campaign where WaterStep can bring more equipment like this and simple water solutions to places across the globe.
When the gift was given, he and I both kind of fell on our knees and wept. Because not only of the power of that amount of money that we knew that we could do, but because of the honor for you and Tommy.
I know his legacy will live on as long as people continue to do good work in the world.
Using one of our city's darkest days to benefit the rest of the world. In Louisville, Connor Steffen, the WHAS 1119, on your side.
Showing such amazing strength right there today. Water Step leaders say they hope to attract another $5 million in donations to expand this global project. All news since 6 here, right here tonight. A new building proposed in the Cherokee Triangle is being designed with one of its most famous residents in mind. The proposed project on Highland Avenue would be named after Edwin Hubble. Name sound familiar? Well, Hubble, for whom the Hubble Space Telescope is named, he lived in this Louisville neighborhood in the early 1900s. The proposed 25,000 square foot building would include street level commercial space with residential units on the top 3 floors, plus something special.
And then a signature feature on the top of that building would be an observatory with telescope as sort of a historical recognition of Edwin Hubble's contribution to astronomy. He lived in the Cherokee Triangle at one time. The Hubble telescope is named after him.
What a unique plan there with the observatory right on top. Well, to build the new building, developers would need to tear down the nearly century-old duplex that currently sits on the property. Tonight, the Historic Landmarks and Preservation Commission voted to allow the demolition as long as they are able to bring back plans that would better address parking for the building. Now to another historic space right in Louisville in the same area may now be turned into a boutique hotel. We're talking about this church. Developers are proposing turning the vacant Highland United Methodist Church in Cherokee Triangle into a 26-room boutique hotel. The church sits at Patterson Avenue and Cherokee Road. Tonight, neighbors were invited to give their input on the project. Some had real concerns, but overall were supportive of the idea, saying they want to see the property preserved, and a hotel could just be the way to do that.
It's a very difficult project. You have a sanctuary and an adjoining building, so there's really kind of a limited number of uses that could be developed there.
Usually the only people that come out to these neighborhood meetings are people who are opposed to the project, and you'll say through the whole meeting we had lots of people applauding for the project.
The church property would first need a zoning change. To get historical tax incentives, the building would need to keep what made it historic, so the old sanctuary could not be significantly changed.